thing right here
Yeah, tell me about it.
is letting all the people know
Ooh, what's that?
what burnouts talk about.
Yeah, what did they talk about, baby?
You know, the chronic. Check it out. Ooh, that bud's so scandalous. You hit it too hard, you can't handle this. So you're smoking that thing, then you pass it to us with that look in your eyes so devious. You inhale with all you got. Suck it down hard till you see in dots. And your body's on the ground, but your mind is not, cause you...
Hold up. Hey. So hot, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot. I'm so high.
In the morning, I smoke 2 joints at night.
I smoke 2 joints when I play video games, and every 10,000 points.
Is it such a crime? Hey, everybody should be getting high.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey, smoke weed every day.
Are you ready?
Yeah, you think you can tell us what to do? You think you can tell us what to wear? You think that you're better? Well, you better get ready. Bow to the masters. Break it down.
Oh, yeah. You hear that DX music going at the beginning of the show, you know it's about to be a lit episode. Hell yeah. I'm back at you. We got Bogard in the building. We got Hess in the building. This is about to be a lit stream right now.
Hey, quit saying my government name like that.
I forgot. We got to call him Scott once in a while.
Yeah. They're on to me.
And Sir Bongs a lot is already up in here early. Let's get it. Oops. Wait, there you go. Yeah, I'm about to get a dab flowing right now. Looks like Hess has already partaken. And who's smoking some dabs in here right now? If you're in the 420 crew, let's see that. Let's see the rig emoji. Throw it in there. And Antonio, what up?
What up, birthday twin? Yeah, see me, I don't have too many devices, bruh. Fucking rigs and all that shit. They don't last with me, man. I do got a diamond infused joint going, and I got my carts with me. So I'll be with y'all in 710 spirit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
but dabba doos though, man. You gotta go like back maybe 12, 13 years for me the first time I ever hit one of them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see who else up in here. Josh is up in here. So we're not doing any recaps right now. We're probably going to get that going on like Monday morning or something.
Hey, where's the other Josh? Whenever you see one, the other one's not far behind.
They're always around. And it was Josh who referred Josh as well.
Yeah. And they weren't joshing around.
Yeah. E-Real. What up, bro? Shout out to the 420 crew. E-Reel's in the Charles Jefferson. He was like, man, are we the fucking slowest division or what? He asked me that. We were like in the 7th round, and I was like, believe it or not the slowest. We got some in the 6th still. He was like, God damn.
Hey, you know what's funny is that's the actual B-Real's little cousin, bro.
Yeah. And Song said, yo, I'm about to bake and shake to bed after this. Yeah, man, because I know you yeah, he's working overnight. What flavor is that? That's the
you just mentioned Be Real, right? That's that Dr. Green Thumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go.
Since you mentioned him.
Hey man, you know the universe, man.
Yeah, that green thumb. And Song said, yeah, I don't use it enough. We're gonna start using it for all the wake and bakes. I don't know why I haven't been.
I know, right?
And David P said somebody is on the clock somewhere. That's for damn sure.
Clock
yeah, bro. Hey, I bet you it's Earl.
And Vern,
yeah, Earl
up,
or
bro.
Kahuna. Shout out to Kahuna.
Yeah. And Sir Bongslot said, fuck it. Rig it is. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Donnie, shout out to Canada. We got the international stream going.
Hey. I love
Ooh,
That old Donnie boy.
yeah. Peacock's joining us. He said, breaking up some orange cookies. Put that in your bowl and smoke it.
it. Nice.
And look at Josh. We Joshes stick together.
You know what I'm saying? And shout out to all the Joshes, and shout out to my man
Ooh.
Peacock.
Yeah, Peacock said sipping on a blueberry space cake live resin as well. He ain't playing
Nice.
this morning.
Hey, what is it over there in Texas? Like 10 o'clock? Hell yeah.
Yep. Hell yeah.
Sunday family fun day on the 7th.
Oh, I mean, it's always Sunday fun day, right? Like, I mean, we're getting it right now, but during the season, everyone's going to be turned up hella early like this.
Fuck yeah, you're right. Hey, listen, man, I'm in mid-season form right now.
Look at this. Ron said, what up, boys? Coming at you live from church. I like it, bro. If there's a reason to sin, it's to watch our show.
Hey, bro, tell God I said, what's up, man?
Today's a holy day too, Ron.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And
hey, you think Ron gets dressed up for church?
Ron, do you get dressed up for church? Do you put on a suit and tie when you go, or is it more casual?
I think it's a button down. I don't know about the jacket, but for sure.
I'll give him button down with the sweats.
I give him button down with slacks, like maybe khakis.
I bet he's got because Ron, he's all about getting the bargain hunting for the clothes. I bet you he found some polos somewhere like along this way, some Ralph Lauren's for like $10.
He's wearing a fuck defense t-shirt right now.
That would be awesome. That'd be epic.
he's slowly
walk through.
Hey, Ron's in church right now praying. He's like, man, let me win these leagues so I can talk shit to him and tell him I'm a real guy.
He told me the other day he sees teenagers, adults at church wearing cookies gear every Sunday.
Here we go. He said, playing bass, I'm wearing a Diamond Supply shirt with matching Phillies hat. But is that your church outfit as well as when you're playing bass?
Cool. Hey, Ron gets down?
Yeah, he's a guitar and bass. I know he was like, man, if you saw my house, he was like, you'd see nothing but guitars, guitar stands, amplifiers.
Hey, man, Ron just got right into like my super cool book.
Yeah, because you really love any kind of music artist, right?
Because you know what? It makes total sense now why Ron is the way he is.
Because he's an artist?
Yeah. Artists are fucking out there, bro. I would know. I mean, you guys are artists in your own right. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Hustling's an art, and you do that in all different ways and shapes and forms. You know what I mean?
He says he plays the bass at church.
That's tight. He's in God's band.
He says he goes to a very laid back church.
Hey, listen, man, I'm with the band. That's what he says. He said, what band? God's band.
Look at this. 75 guitars, 40 amps, 110 pedals. Fucking insane.
Wait, what does that even mean? 75 guitars.
He has in his collection, he has 75 guitars. He has 40 amps and he has 110 pedals. That's just his personal collection.
Hey, what's the dude? He used to kill it with the wall. He used to do the wah with the pedal, and Pete something.
What do you Les Paul? What's your favorite guitar?
It's got to be a Gibson.
Gibson.
I mean, well, that's like the go-to, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Ron said, "Love me some Fender, huge Fender collection. I like it."
Nice.
What up, Devin? Let's smoke it up, dude.
Did you ever have a Stratocaster, the one from Wayne's World? The Excalibur.
David P says shorts and t-shirts if you could get me in there. I mean, I know that there's some, churches that have dress codes or whatever, or some where you just probably feel out of place if you don't come dressed up. The church that we went to when we were kids, everyone was kind of just dressed normal.
I mean, when I used to go to church as a kid, it was like another spot to debut. You know what I mean? Because there was hella bitches at church. You know what I mean? Especially when you're a young mustache running around trying to, you know what I mean? Trying to figure the world out with the opposite sex. You feel me? Like church was just one of those ones outside of school where it's like, oh shit, you know what I mean? I probably stopped going to church all the time by the time I got to high school. You know what I mean? Because then it's like they couldn't tell me I'm not getting up on a Sunday morning. And then my dad, till this day, he'll go by himself.
Yeah, it was when I was 16 and I got my license. That's kind of when it stopped. It was when I started working. Also, that was another thing. Well, 16, got my car and started working, so both worked.
When I started doing psychedelics, I was in high school, and that was when it was already like, yeah, me and God, we're good. You know what I mean? I don't need to go to the little fucking building. You know what I'm saying? And hear the word from somebody else. Does that sound crazy? Because it's like I felt like when you do psychedelics, you know what I'm saying? That's that's like the cheat code connection to that hierarchy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know. I'm not really a fan for like the structured environments like that. I already went to school, and that was
I don't know if this is a Bogey original or if it's something I adopted along the way of my many travels. But like I realized religion is like a set of rules to have a connection to something greater. Meanwhile, spirituality is just that direct connection without any rules, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, even Peacock said it's hot in my neck of the woods, but folks dress hella nice at church. Yeah, because to some people that's like their fashion show.
That's right, it's your debut.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Speaking of,
hey, look at the fly shit that God blessed me with.
The old ladies with their fly ass hats and shit, like.
Hey, you ain't gonna never see them wear that hat at the grocery store.
No, never.
Speaking of church, that's actually where, if you want to get into the history for a little bit.
Yeah, let's do it.
There used to be, and I think it's actually just come back recently, but on Sundays, there was something online called Hash Church. Hash Church was produced by someone that goes by the name of Bubble Man up in Canada, and he was all about the trichomes, right? So for those that don't know, right, we grow plants, right, but we don't really want to consume the plant matter if we don't have to, right? All the medicine, all that good, right, are in those crystals, in those trichomes. So, in your grinder, right, at the very bottom, at the very end, you got that keef, right? That's the trichomes that have come off the plant matter, right? That's the basics of concentrates, right? So he was all about the concentrate, all about the trichomes. And back in 2015, right, he had a guest come on and game changer, right? Guest is called Soil, goes by the name of Soil Grown back in 2015. And he came on with his soil grown tech and introduced the world, right, to very basic technology. This is a hair press, right? But before 2015, there was no rosin. There was no rosin tech, right? So that's when it came out. So when I think of church, that's what I go to. Hash Church, 2015, soil tech, and the birth of rosin. So, good things happen in church.
And so for people who don't know, literally all you do, you get that hair press, you fucking put weed in between it, you clamp it down, maybe you tie it to get it like extra tight, and it's going to turn into fucking rosin.
Yeah, what you want to do is you actually put it in between some wax paper, some parchment paper, actually, right? Yeah. Now they've got some special bubble bags for it. But essentially, if you're putting it between that parchment paper, you press down, and that combination of heat and pressure, low heat, high pressure, right? And it's like sap from a tree starts coming out, and it's the tastiest medicine that exists, right? And it's solvent free.
That's the shit right there. That's the kicker.
Yeah.
Hey, let me ask a question. That dude, was his hair phenomenal?
Yeah.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
That's funny you said that.
Because one day he was just straightening his hair, and you were like,
he's like, hey, he went through like 50 of them, like first month, but
Right?
Well,
Hey.
now then they went to like t-shirt presses, right? Because if you think about it, right, a t-shirt press, bigger version of that, right?
Yeah.
The exact
And you don't have to be holding it down like with your
Yeah.
hands and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it gets annoying, you know. And then they started going into hydraulic ones, and you know now
You got the handheld. You got the little handheld bitches.
Yeah. And real quick, so I threw the word out to a bunch of people, got this on Instagram, and we got someone else joining us. It is my man Nick. Said he rolled up a fresh blunt just for the show. What up, bro?
Good morning, gentlemen.
What up? Top of the morning.
Top of the morning. How's everybody?
Doing good.
You know what I'm saying?
Have to get another dab.
I ain't even gonna lie. I got up because I thought I was late for the show. Didn't even brush my teeth to start getting high.
Sometimes it be like
priorities.
You feel me? I threw on a new shirt though. You know what I mean? It's life in the apocalypse.
I threw on a new shirt too. I got another Cheech and Chong shirt. So I mean, my wife, she loves Ross, you know, so she'll randomly go to Ross, and she knew I was live streaming. She still had to call me. She was like, I found like 6 weed shirts at Ross. And I was like, well, just get them all.
Hey, Ross was that shit back in the days, bro. I need to walk up into one of those motherfuckers again one of these days. Yeah. Because Ross was one of those ones you got to go digging.
TJ Maxx too, same thing.
Yeah.
Hey, TJ Maxx.
Look at Ron right there. I love TJ Maxx.
We had some shit out here. Y'all ever heard of the Burlington Coat Factory?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the founder of
that shit was clowning, bruh.
Did you hear that? You hear that? Hess said he knows the founder of Burlington Coat Factory.
He sold it a few years back, but that's my boy. I play golf with him.
Nice. Well, I bet he sold that for a nice chunk of change if it was only a few years back that he sold it.
I believe it.
Hell yeah. Guccini in the building. What up, bro?
JD. Top of the morning, buddy. Shoot JD the link.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Check your
we
text.
Getting high
if
in this
you wanna come on and chop it up. And so wait, well let me so the rosin, I mean man, the rosin, amazing. If we go back to when I first found out about dabs, I mean that was when it was all fucking, you know, butane, and I mean they didn't know how to purge it. They called it goo because that shit was just like straight black. And like I even remember the sales pitch to at least get me to smoke it was you put it on your bowl, but because there's butane in it, it'll keep it lit and it keeps the bowl like going longer. And this is like shit, 2005. Yeah, there you go. 2005 or 2006. So, you know, I'm like 19, like maybe 20. And
it's dangerous. People are blowing themselves up, blowing their heads up and shit.
Yeah. Not knowing you need to be doing it outside, that there's just a bunch of butane in a small ass area. So I knew someone who ended up blowing it, but he was smart enough to at least do it outside.
Hey, my homie had one of them videos, you know, on YouTube. It had hella hundreds of thousands of views and shit where he was, you know, showing how to do it. You know what I mean? It wasn't showing him though, because it was still those days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get that. It was like you put it.
Yeah, but it was crazy. And you know what's crazy is he always talks about that now. He's like, man, he's like, if I knew about YouTube back then, he just posted a video. That was it. You know what I mean? But it was like a how-to. That since then, that video has been took down. You know what I
mean? YouTube University, man. YouTube University.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I used to call Uncle YouTube and be like, man, Uncle YouTube teach me how to do everything I need to learn. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I'm
so
like,
back up. Who knows in the chat why we're even celebrating 710? What's 710 all about? Should we ask the chat or should we just get right into it?
You know what? Yeah, all right.
If anybody knows in the chat, we'll give them a second.
Let's see in the first 30 seconds anybody gets it.
Okay. Well, and there's a little delay. We'll give it like 60 seconds between when they hear this.
Should we give them a hint?
Yeah, we'll give them a minute. And Song said the first time I did a dab, I was high for 4 or 5 hours. So when I hit the goo, and it was like, I remember in one day I hit like 3 bowls like topped with goo. I was high for like 3 days, and really it was just having like the craziest like headache like ever for 3 days. And man, it almost made me it made me contemplate not smoking weed again. And I was like, well, it's just the goo. It wasn't the weed.
And then like, what was that first thing? The little purge machines. I remember we had one of those. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, and like, you know what I mean? And it would take like a good amount of it out. But like, And then you would see some of the homies that would take their time on that shit, you know what I mean? And they would come through and that motherfucker would be clearer than a motherfucker, you know what I mean?
I mean, the reality is, you know, if you leave it out long enough under the right conditions, it purges on its own. Alcohol, it's all science, right? Alcohol has a volatility at a specific temp, right? So depending on what the temperature is outside, that makes a massive difference, obviously, right?
Good point.
But if you leave it out, you know, that will, you know, over time, you know, it will all just all that alcohol, all the butane will leave, you know. But you definitely prefer it if it were vacuumed out, for sure.
Yeah, that's what it was. The vacuum. There you go. I was calling it the purge joint. You know what I'm saying?
And what year was that when they started?
2010, 11. That's when we had it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
and then,
remember
like back then, the whole thing was like the hustle was like because fools they didn't know what to do with their trim, bro. So I would just I'd buy like a garbage bag full of trim for like $100.
When? But right around then?
Yeah,
we turned garbage into gold, right, Bogey?
Right, bro. And like, cause I knew hella growers, and then see, this is the other hustlers, the sub hustlers, like the fools that were getting paid to clip shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? They were the ones that were like, yo, we got these bags for like, you know, they'll give it up for like $1, and it was probably just them pocketing that 100. You know what I mean?
Right? That shit's just coming out of the freezer, right?
Exactly.
That's garbage that's gonna get turned into gold,
bruh. And then it was like that was like the shattered glass era with all, and then like, but I was always a fan of the cold water, motherfucking with like the peanut butter consistency. You know what I mean?
Blasted puffin, happy 710, stopping through. Hell yeah!
Nice.
I got my rig.
Yeah.
Yeah,
everybody don't burn their house down. Let's just say
you like it the batter. So people always ask. So did anybody answer what 710 is?
Yep. Here we go. Blasted puffin, got it. Oil. There we go.
Oil spelled backwards. It's that simple. Who remembers? Who had a pager back in the day?
Yeah.
We were spelling shit, right? Messages to each other.
Yep. Pager code, bro.
Pager code, right?
Yeah, my pager code was
710. Oil spelled backwards, and you know, just like we're all MacGyvers in our industry, we're also hella marketers, right? And we ran with that. I think it was back in like 2011, 2012, around then. You know, pre-2010 for sure, there was no such thing as 710.
Yeah.
But right around 2011-ish, that's when like the 710 cup started popping up. That's when you had a couple of songs, right, come out with like 710 talking about dabs and the correlation between the two. And then it just took off because, you know, July 10th, people started walking in wanting those concentrates, or like a couple days before. And, you know, at the dispensaries, those who were following the data saw those numbers go up, just like we saw them go up on 420, right? And, you know, just like Hallmark, we said, hey, it's a holiday now.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, see, I think holidays are all just genius marketing, right? That stuck for fucking stands like, and a lot of times with these urban, what should I say, underground holidays like 420 and shit, it happens organically, just like, you know what I mean? It was 710's the code, you feel me? And the motherfuckers start buying all the shit that week up because they're keeping it lit on a 710, you know what I mean? And it's like, if you're the dispensary, you got all the data, like you say, like, yeah, you know what? Market this shit. You know what I mean? Hey, people out here in the Bay, people go out to the city and they got Hippie Hill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hippie Hill and H Street, Haight Street. And like, you know, this is like, you know, this is like throwback the fucking hippie era. You know what I mean?
That's when 420 started with the Waldos. These kids back in San Mateo, right near the Bay Area and near Santa Cruz. Basically, they were told that there was this lost cannabis field that they were gonna go find, and they had like a treasure map to it. And every day after school, they would meet behind the wall, outside the school, and they would go on this hunt, right? But rather than say all of that, you know, they would just look at each other and be like, 420? Yeah, 420? Because that's when school was over. 420? Yeah. And then that's when they were up. And then Grateful Dead, right? You know, they were in that area. They had heard that story, and he, you know, one of the Grateful Dead, I can't remember who it is right now, but one of the Grateful Dead repeated it in a High Times magazine story, right? And boom, took off, right? That's when everybody started 420. But that's actually a real story, and there are some Waldos.
Yeah, how far back does High Times go?
That vouch. High Times is 70s, early 70s.
Early 70s. Okay,
never missed an edition.
Yeah. Hey, that's sick. Hey, Grateful Dead is still rocking to this day.
Oh, hell yeah.
I mean, minus Jerry and a couple. Actually, a lot of them are dead now, right? A lot of the originals.
Yeah, but they're still going strong.
But they still going.
Yeah, rock stars. And Ron is pointing out Hess around the clock, by the way.
Who?
And that Hess is on the clock.
Oh.
Yeah, like literally, I just looked at it. It's like, yeah, just popped up. Yeah, Stativelli just got his pick in. Ron's on it.
But so who we thinking here real quick? Where are we going?
Shit. We might have to go IDP right about now. Let's see.
Yeah.
We're in the 20th round. This is the fastest draft out of all these.
Damn, you guys are almost done. That's crazy.
It's flying.
Only 26 rounds.
Pick Rod. Okay. Cameron Brate. All right. I see you, Ron. He was in my queue. I would have picked him up a little bit later, Cameron Brate, because there's a chance my boy Gronk comes back, or there's a chance they pick up someone else. But Brady loves to throw to his tight end, so Brate could actually.
They might get Julio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I've learned more about Ron now as we've gotten into these later drafts, because you know, I just talk fantasy with a bunch of people, and we talk about drafts, and then we're talking about players that he drafted.
So no one took my boy Nick Bolton yet?
No.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm not letting him. So we're in 20. I'm 20.6 right now.
There still hasn't been a lot of IDP players drafted. I mean, I'm looking at the board right now.
Nick Bolton, welcome to the squad.
I like it.
So my IDP right now is Devin White, Eric Kendricks, and Nick Bolton. Not bad.
So only 24 linebackers have been taken so far. 7 DBs.
Nick Bolton's
7 DLs. So we got about 44.
I like Nick Bolton to be like a 90 solo tackle motherfucker.
Yeah,
you think that's far fetched, Huss?
What did he have last year? I know he broke.
I mean, solo. I'm talking about just solo tackle.
No, I know. I gotta go check. I forgot what he had.
He had like 60. Solo. I think he might have had 69.
Okay, let's go check.
Oh no,
he definitely got triple digits.
Well, he had triple digits, but how many? Solo?
Yeah, total. But the solo
he had 70. He was one off the damn right there though. So
he had one too many for us right now.
He's got to take that jump. If he gets into like 90 solo range, you know, and still has his 40 assisted tackles, you know, some shit like that. Because he had a lot of tackles for loss, also 11 tackles for loss. Had the TD off the fumble. So I mean that's big time. So he's got to do those things plus add another 20-ish tackles, and he could be competing for like top 12.
He's a great best ball IDP.
Yeah,
you don't have to, you know. It can happen at any point.
Yeah.
Last year, I don't even know if you guys don't remember. He didn't start.
No, I was about to say he was in the rotation, and then like I remember it was a primetime game, and there were like you know how they have all those tidbits before the game. Like, we're really excited about Nick Bolton. They're saying he's gonna get a full complement of snaps and all that. And then that was when it went on. I want to say that was like week 5 or 6. You know what I mean?
Well, it was just the first 4 games that he didn't start. So, yeah, it was probably week 5.
Okay, it's week 5. Yeah, so I want to say I could tack on like 20 more solos. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, he only has 60% snaps for the entire season.
Yeah, and now he's the
and that's going up.
He's the MLB now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the mic.
I like that.
Shout out to Stativelli. He picked up Crosby. They were like side by side at the top of my queue.
Who did he grab?
Crosby.
Oh, Max Crosby. I don't know.
You were thinking kicker.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Is that
I mean, we be in so many different type of leagues. I'm like, what? He's getting a rookie pick? Like, I'm like, yeah, that shit funny.
Yeah, let me see here. I'm going to look at the snap percentage.
I don't really fuck with the Max Crosbys or the because it's like you need them to get the sacks more than anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I love it when others make the decision for you. But I like
that is a good point.
Like Bogard, he's still pissed about when he made the decision for everyone and it was the wrong decision for himself. At least clicked the wrong button.
Oh yeah. Oh, that one. Why you have to bring that shit up, bro?
This shit's funny.
Man, I do that all the time.
You know what's crazy is like it just happened to Hess or something like that, right? I mean, you were talking about something similar in the chat in our thread, and then I go in there like, fuck, I just fucking got Dylan. I just realized I don't have Killer Cam. I'm like, it was like maybe like 10 minutes later, I'm like, what the fuck?
Man, I'm looking here. His snap percentages, he had the most snaps out of any of the inside linebackers. And
yeah, because it was like, who else was there? Like Willie Gay,
Hitchens, Neiman.
And was Hitchens hurt? Or they just weren't fucking with him last year?
I mean, so I just read those in order of like how many snaps. So I mean, he had the third most linebacker snaps.
Nice
on the Chiefs. But yeah, Nick Bolton. I mean, there's a lot of games where he was like under 50% snap percentage. So yeah, we're gonna need to see that come up. It looked like he did miss one game like completely.
Could have been COVID,
but could have been. It was week 16. That was when Travis Kelce went down and all that. So
oh yeah,
could have been. And Crispy says, sucks to be you, man. And he's gonna keep bringing up that Patrick Mahomes.
Damn you, Crispy. And I know he's somewhere. I would never be able to find him if I wanted to find him. He's even if I knew the location, he'd be under the building, just getting away.
Gemmo in the house. What up?
Icon.
And Will, what up, bro? What's going down? And Crispy said, DBs to me are worthless in best ball. Not the top ones, because they still come down to a shit ton of tackles.
Yeah, not your Derwins, your Buddhas, your fucking your Adamses.
But only like there's 24 linebackers that have gone off the board in that specific division, and there was only 7 DBs. So like 3.5 times more. Same with linemen. There was only like 7 linemen that went compared to 24 linebackers.
Yeah.
And Nick said, sorry, gentlemen, had a phone call come in. No worries, bro. We just call that going into the Matrix.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you want to hop back on or whatever, feel free. And Tino's in the house. What up?
Tino, aloha. Hey, I texted Tino yesterday. I said, hey, bro. I said, jump on. Because, Tino keeps it lit. That's my birthday twin. And, like Tino, he worked in the cannabis industry forever, bro. So, like, you know what I'm saying? He just always have some good, like, he was in the game. So I figured, hey, I'm gonna hit him up for the wake and bake, right? Because we're bringing on just some real pothead historians, you know what I mean? But he was like, oh, I'm in Hawaii, bro. So it's like whatever. What is it, like 3 hours earlier over there right now?
I think it's 2 hours behind right now. He said had to wake up at 6 a.m. for this bad boy. That's some dedication.
See, there you go.
You the man. You the man.
I remember the last time I was in Hawaii. 2019, and what was crazy because in hindsight, there was hella people wearing masks already. You know what I'm saying? That shit was crazy because you know what I'm saying. Anyways, I digress. So I'm in Hawaii, and it's the Europe game on the Sunday morning, which is 6 o'clock West Coast time. But I'm in Hawaii, so that's 4 o'clock. And then and I'm in Hawaii for the whole week. We're there for a wedding, so I'm Hawaii turned. You know what I mean? So I'm like, you know what? We're just staying up. You know what I mean? And I just stayed up, watched all the football. So I you know what I mean? And then slept nice on the beach. Them waves are nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we used to go to, not we used to. We went to Hawaii a couple times, and my uncles got their house like in the city, and then they got their beach house like all the way on North Shore. And
he was like the head, wasn't he like the head life? What was he out there?
Yeah, so he has David Hasselhoff's job in real life. So he was like the lieutenant lifeguard on Waikiki for the longest
Oh,
time.
that's right. He actually was like a consultant for them, right?
Yeah, he actually consulted like with Baywatch, and he was like their insider to making things more realistic when it came to certain things.
What was he shredded?
I mean, when he was younger, yeah. I mean, because
Oh, okay.
I mean, even now, I mean, he's still like super like fit, even being like 60 something, like, but yeah, he finally retired. I think it was around like COVID and all that. He like officially retired, but yeah, and then he was the captain lifeguard for the longest time. And he was like, man, he's like, Baywatch is bullshit. No captain lifeguard's gonna be out there. He's like, I don't even touch the sand anymore.
Yeah, surfing, you're using all kinds of muscles. You're staying hella trim, hella fit. Using
That's true. On the motherfucking sand, in the water, and swimming.
Not easy. So
Yeah.
what was
his sons were jacked though. Like those guys were like fucking gym rats, and they were like like one of them was a bodybuilder for a while. Now he's a lifeguard, but yeah, both football players. Both it had the it was their Hawaiian blood that got them big because they were way bigger than their dad.
What were some of the more interesting concentrates you guys have come across in your day? It could be any kind of concentrate. Cannabis.
So,
I remember this was like, I can just remember the first time, well, not what the first time, but one of the times where it was like I first encountered some of that 99 gold shit. You know what I mean? And like it was on one of those emails and shit. And like, bro, I was just like, whoa, this is okay. I'm like, that's different from any other kind. This is probably like 2012, where I was like, okay, that's what's up. Because, you know, before that, we're making it, it's all some bullshit, it's hella dark. And you know what I mean?
Yeah. So
yeah,
for
like
me,
I was like, oh, okay, this is righteous right here. I was like, they're doing it right. You know what I mean? And then when the distillates came around, I was trying to think, when did the distillates first come around? Like 13, 14-ish?
Right.
Because like I know by the time like it was 2015, like I was having carts. You know what I mean? Like people were just having it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, because people were making those motherfuckers.
Yeah. You know, these guys are on your area, Bogey. Guild extract.
Yeah. And that's who I was gonna bring up, because so 2015. I went to the Cannabis Cup in SoCal, San Bernardino, and I was with an edibles company, so I got to go in through like, you know, the business side. Or
Yeah.
And so I'm like waiting in line because I got there trying. They told me get there early because it's gonna get crowded if you show up a little late, because everyone shows up late to the stoner events. And so I get there a little early, so I'm waiting in line, waiting for them to like open the gates for us and shit. And I hear these guys like behind me. And they're like, yeah, I can't wait. You know, this is like one of the first times, you know, we're bringing it to SoCal with the big event, you know, this 99.99% THC. And I'm just listening to them like, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, this sounds amazing. And so finally, like, I mean, I'm working the booth for a while, you know, it was an edibles company that I was there with. And then I start doing my rounds, walking around, giving out samples and stuff. And then I see the big sign, 99.9997% THC or whatever it is. I may be wrong with some extra nines, but it's damn near like 100% THC. And like, you look in like their little, like, they have like the glass, like, you know, container and shit.
Yeah.
And man, it looks like some powder, you know, like, I mean, it is just straight white, clearish. And like, you know, it definitely doesn't look like anything that I've seen before.
See,
but
when I had it, it was the distillant. You know what I'm saying? It was the motherfucking. It was like fucking straight liquid. Like, and it had a little tinge. That's why they called it the gold. But now it's like, you see, they're making the shit to be damn near clear. You feel me? Like,
yeah. See, look at that. It's like super.
Yeah.
And I remember they were doing it for like, it was $12 just for a dab. $12 just for a dab, and it was $60 for a half gram. It was like $120 for a gram.
Yeah.
And like they had to, it's so fucking pure that they had to like add terps to it
For
because
flavor.
like, yeah, because if you, I mean, you don't even get any flavor. So like what I would do when I started having Guild a little bit on the regular, I would just take a little piece of the Guild, mix it with another little dab, you know, for the flavor. And then it's like, man,
snow cone it.
Woo, shot to the moon with that shit.
The snow cone, bro.
Damn it. Okay, so Hawaii's 3 hours behind. He said,
See, I told you.
51 right now. So Hawaii's one of the smart ones that they don't change their clocks for daylight savings time. So it's either 2 hours or 3 hours, depending on the time of year. They didn't
really have like agriculture like that, right? I mean, I guess they do now, but I mean, I don't know. Either way, when you're in Hawaii, that shit's like, it's like slow. The time is like slower even, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So Tino's going to hit 7:10 a.m. in addition to 7:10 p.m. Lucky Tino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep through that 7:10 a.m. vibe. You're going to hit that.
Sir Bongs a lot know what's up. He said THCA powder diamond sauce crystalline, however you say that.
Nice.
Yeah. That guild is wild.
That shit. That's that snow cone shit. We used to dab. We used to take the nail and then put hella different shit on them. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I wish I had more. Man, Hess, I wish I had more of that. That Voyager. Those guys were dope, man. They hooked me up with like 3 fire ass grams of their shit, and woo, man, that was so good for. That was those days when I was falling asleep at like, the whole.
But those THC crystals, who was that? Sir Bongs out there? That was the same one.
Yeah.
Those THC crystals are actually produced in the sauce, right? The sauce, you leave it, you know, that's the last step in the post production, and then instead of like whipping it and making a batter. Right, because so many concentrates are actually very, very similar, but just a last step in post-production is what changes it up a little bit. But with Sir Bongs, I was talking about, those diamonds, those crystals that form in the sauce, you get kind of like the best of both worlds. You get that terpy sauce, right? All that flavor, and then you got super duper high concentrate.
Dang it. Tino said, you guys are right. I owe myself another 710. I only bought trees out here though, man. And
hey, Tino, get yourself a hair straightener. Go run out. Get yourself some wax paper. You got an hour. All right. I know you got a hair straightener, and boom. All right. Get yourself.
Oh man, Gemma said, guess who's on the clock? Fuck. Is it my name, Earl?
Earl's on the clock. Oh, what time is it? That means in 4 hours we're moving for sure.
I'm messaging him right now.
Also, some of the more interesting concentrates I've come across. So anybody that's got asthma is familiar with the old school inhaler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we got the inhaler for the super DL, You don't want any kind of smell whatsoever. You got the inhaler. What else here? We've got like the Banaka spray. That's a pretty cool concentrate.
Right.
Time.
Yeah.
This one's cool right here too. This one, see, a lot of times, if you got a tincture, right? It's not that palatable, or it took a while. It took years and years when they first started extracting, right? A lot of like tinctures tasted like burnt rubber, or just then they added terpenes and messing around. But rarely would you get a manufacturer that was putting something out that actually tastes exactly like the strain. So these guys, Harvest Direct, came up with this tech, right? So this one right here is Super Silver Haze, right? So you just take a couple drops of this Super Silver Haze and add it to anything you're drinking. So right now I happen to be drinking some seltzer, and I'll turn my seltzer now into a 20 milligram, because I just added 2 of those. So 20 milligram, and don't have too much seltzer in there. So otherwise I would have probably added a little more, your boy.
Hey, do you ever just take a drop and just be like,
oh, all the time.
Yeah. So I'd be like, fuck this drink, let me get right to it.
I just locked in my pick in the Charles Jefferson, guys. I don't know how Kenny Pickett was picked over Jameis Winston, but I just locked him in.
Wow, that's crazy.
As my number 3, I got Herbert.
I mean, it's 21 leagues.
Get on the field this season.
He might not. He might
Winston's going to get on the field week 1.
Hold on. He might know something that we don't. He might know. That guy might know something we don't.
Maybe he picked then that's his number 2 QB on the team too. He has Lamar Jackson and then Kenny Pickett.
Was that an auto? Was it an auto pick maybe from his queue?
I don't think so. I mean, it could have been, but I'm not sure.
You know those tobacco? Anybody spit tobacco?
No.
You know those that guy.
Oh yeah, the chews.
Tobacco pouches.
Yeah, the chews.
So these dudes, Canadips,
weed
came out with these pouches.
Nice.
Yeah. Pat McAfee is sponsored by those, the Canadips.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, and so what is it? What's actually in it? Does it just taste like it, or I mean?
No, there's this one is 150 milligrams of THC. There's 15 in there, so break that down. So you get about 10 milligrams of THC, and some of them have CBD, but this happens to be THC. It's got a little mint flavor.
So does it get you the head rush like chew?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
it doesn't. You don't see the thing is with an edible. And we'll get to edibles in a second, right? Little education here. People, some people fuck around with edibles. Some people are like, it just lasts way too long. And I don't know if anybody stopped to think about like what's up with that, right? They're not adding anything different. You're not smoking.
You're putting it into your bloodstream.
So what happens, right? In your liver, right? When you digest that, your flour, right, which is delta 9, right? literally turns into a different compound, turns into delta 11 because of what's going on in your liver. Delta 11, right? That's giving you a much more intense experience. It's going to last 6, 7, 8 hours, right? Mm-hmm. But it's got to go all the way down into the digestive tract. Your enzymes got to start breaking it down. That's why it can take like 45 minutes to an hour for old school edibles, right? Mm-hmm. Unless, like you just said, Bogey, you go right through the bloodstream, right? Yeah. How do you do that? Something like this, right? Or like you said, through a tincture, right? Where you're just going under the tongue, right? Yeah. You go under the tongue, or right where I'm right here in the cheek, right? That's that's just going sublingual,
straight to the brain,
into the bloodstream. There you go, sublingual, and it won't turn into delta 11, so it's not going to last as long. It won't be as intense, right? But it'll kick in maybe about 5, 10, 15 minutes. Last about an hour to 2 hours.
And does it give you the spits like chew? Like, you know what I mean?
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can.
But would you want to spit that? Because that's like, you know what I'm saying, it has THC in that motherfucker.
Exactly. This is when you just chill and chill.
Have one of those cans, just, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And then, of course, they came out with, everything from like, gummies, and we got mints, right? Mints are my favorite, right? And Breeze, shout out to Breeze. They put out a really, really good product. But you were talking about distillate. So, you got like the gummies, right? Mm-hmm. You got a brand like Smokies. Shout out to Smokies. And you got all kinds of good, tasting. This one is with watermelon, but what they do is they take distillate, right? So distillate doesn't have flavor, but when you're making a certain product like that, that's cool, right? You don't necessarily want your watermelon gummies to have a weird taste, right? You want to taste like a watermelon gummy. So they're loving distillate like that, right?
Yeah.
Early on, back in the day, this is one of the first guys. They were actually out of Colorado, Chiba Chews. Remember Chiba Chews?
Yep.
Same kind of thing. And then fast forward, now what we're doing is taking that live rosin technology that we were talking about earlier, right? That full flavor, right? And why is it live? Because it's fresh frozen, right? So you don't have to dry it or anything. So that's huge for a commercial cultivator, right? That shaves off about 10 days, 10, 12 days of drying, right? And another maybe 3 weeks of curing, right? Shaves all that up. You put it, boom, into a flash frozen, freezer, and you have to then, use a BHO to extract that to get that full flavor. But that's fine. They use BHO in medicinal environments all the time. But what you end up getting is full flavored, like strain profile product. So shout out to Kiva, right? And they came out with this new brand, Lost Farm, but they got these blueberry live resin fruit chews that taste like Blue Dream. So I personally like
the flavor,
that flavor profile, right? So mixed together like that, it's fantastic. So they've got like, you know, OG, they've got Skywalker, they've got all kinds of, you know, very, very popular strains with some great fruit juice and a lot of
and how many milligrams are in those? I remember Kiva. I mean, they used to be known for those 1,000, 2,000, bars. But
these are all 10 milligrams, nowadays that's
they gotta be now, right?
Yes, that's by peak,
right?
So
because that was like 5. I want to say that was like already like 3 or 4 years ago. They you couldn't get those. So even like the ones that were remaining on the shelves, foods were still buying those. Like, oh, you still got left over like those 1,000 bar brownies
or whatever.
Shit. Those were the shit. I had a couple. I had a real ambitious. It was just a shroom endeavor. Me and my boy. He's one of my best friends in the world. I used to live with me, and then he moved. He moved away. And a couple years later, he comes back to visit. So it's like 3 days. We're just getting turned. You know what I mean? And like the shroom day, as I like to call it. You know what I'm saying? We're shrooming, but we're also eating like 50 milligrams here and there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, it's like, this is my boy since we were kids. So like it turned into like, hey, don't be a bitch, eat another 50. You know what I mean? And he's like, oh yeah? Oh, I just ate 75, bitch. Like, oh. You know what I mean? It was one of those.
But the best thing is you can have thousands of milligrams. All you're gonna do is put yourself to bed. There's no such thing.
I mean, but see, when you're on, okay, I'm gonna get to that. So now we're eating, I probably had like maybe 5 or 6 grams just to me of shrooms, you know what I mean? Over the course of the day, you know what I mean? But like once we got over like 500 milligrams, you know what I mean, of that brownie, and we were just watching, like, we went on a Jim Carrey marathon. So by the time we got through like Dumb and Dumber and like Ace Ventura, you know what I'm saying? Like the shrooms kind of wore off to me, you know what I'm saying? Then we go on, we probably left about like 350 something milligrams left on that brownie. So then I do pass out, but I end up waking up because now it's like my third eye is just fucking glaring. Because it was, for context too, it was a hybrid, it was a hybrid sativa dominant, you know what I mean? And which is dope because it's like, man, you can't barely find shit like that back in the days, you know what I mean? And bro, it was like, because of all the shrooms that I ate that day, I swear, like every time I closed my eyes, I was just seeing hella colors, bro. So like, and I related it to like, like when you're a little kid and your mom opens the blinds, like, get up for school. You're like, oh, like, you know what I mean? It was like every time I close, so I'm like in the dark with my eyes open, trying to, like, it was crazy.
Said, Bogey, ever try those shrooms chocolate bars in Oakland?
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. The Willy Wonka joints for real. Like there's a handful of different brands, but I had the Willy Wonka shit, right? Where it literally had Willy Wonka on that motherfucker. And bro, so my man was like, eat 1 square. And I was like, okay, boom, I just eat it. You know what I mean? And he was like, he didn't think I was gonna eat one right there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like, oh shit, man. I'm like, what? He's like, man, you better not have nothing to do for like the next 5-6 hours. I'm like, what? He went lying though. He was
like, Chong.
Yeah, I'm like,
you're there. You can get your hand on that cookie brand Caps. He came out with cannabis brands coming out with a little bit of mushroom tech.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll be right back, y'all.
Okay. Yeah, it was crazy at that pop-up yesterday. There was a booth that had like some trippy tea and shrooms with some tea, and I'm gonna try it. I don't really like tea though. That's really
that's the best. Best line sometimes, but I think that could be top 3 ever.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to record that.
Yeah,
I don't like tea. That's the best. That's the best.
But yeah, it's cool. The shrooms are just getting people are getting a little bit more open about it because that's what artists need, to thrive, open that third eye. And
entrepreneurs. I mean, it's Silicon Valley. They've been microdosing for who knows how long. These years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what's getting real cool. And so where's it been decriminalized?
For sure, places like Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, several states have already decriminalized it,
Nice.
or even went further, legalized it. But we're not going to see cannabis dispensaries like in Amsterdam. I'm sorry, mushroom dispensaries like in Amsterdam popping up the same way we're seeing cannabis dispensaries like we saw in Amsterdam popping up right now under these new regulations.
Yeah.
What's going to happen is no one's going to get in trouble, for mushrooms. But more importantly are that rather than having to run to certain types of anti-anxiety medicines, there's now going to be this plant-based option that doctors can prescribe, literally legit, and people can go to these clinics and sort of retrain the way they think, in a very safe way, right? And a lot of times,
Tina says Oakland, it's damn near looks legal. You can get shroom bars at most smoke shops.
Oh hell yeah!
I mean, Oakland's just a different beast, but yeah, that's pretty dope though.
Yeah, all over the place. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, and I remember. I mean, as far as like these. The dispensaries, the lounges and stuff, like, back when it wasn't regulated or anything. I remember in 2010, one of my homies had a dispensary, and he had like a little dab bar as well. And man, people used to fucking love coming there. I mean, I would go in there because he was always, I was always getting stuff, from him, just having the connection and all that. So I would just be going in there, helping him a bunch, and working behind the dab bar. And man, it was so fun.
Shout out Sir Bongsalot making candies.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude.
I know all about that. What are you using, Sir Bongsalot? Making candy, actually. I mean, you got to use like a thermometer. You got to really know what you're doing when you're making candy. Making chocolate, you can fuck around, throw some cannabis butter, into a crock pot, But when you're making gummies or you're making hard candies, that can go from like, real good to, nasty real quick.
For sure.
So it's hard. So shout out, Sir Bongsalot doing that right and helping out those medical patients for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Especially if it's things where they can't really smoke and they need that, because that's one of the only ways that they can like intake. Yeah, shout out to you, bro. Doing God's work right there, man.
Yeah, they can make, like I was showing earlier, for some people we're here, that CBD coffee.
Yeah.
CBD coffee, and that's what's in here, of course.
Yeah, there we go.
But not everybody can smoke, right? And but that's what concentrates we're celebrating today, right? Is the advent of concentrates, right? We turned garbage into gold, and now we're helping medical patients. I mean, it started way back. Have you heard of RSO, Rick Simpson oil?
Yep.
I mean, and shout out again back to YouTube University and Rick Simpson. I mean, people were like putting hoods on, and no one wanted to show their face back in the day. Rick Simpson was like, "This is how you make this oil. Be safe. This is how you do it." But for medical patients that really needed it, you end up with something like that. Like a real dark black paste. But a little bit of that, and that can legit cure cancer, right? Ask Tommy Chong, right? Ask me, 2-time cancer survivor, and it works, right? It causes apoptosis, right? Where the cancer cells actually don't get the blood supply that they need to live, and they essentially die, right? And so it's cannabis heals, right? And so that's that Rick Simpson oil, man. So good. So good.
Yeah, and then that's it's almost like no adjective that you can even put on it, because like it's just insane how much that has helped people ever since it's kind of came into existence or whatever.
And then you used to get on those early vape pens.
Yep. All right, we got another guest coming in. The Peacock made it in the building.
Yo, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
All right, cool. Awesome. I was looking for headphones and I busted out these ancient things that if I was cleaning my office yesterday, I have no idea what I did with my other set. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
How you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing good.
You're in Texas right now, right?
I am in Texas. I am lit right now this morning.
Texas, one of the lagging states when it comes to cannabis. You know,
it's horrible. Thanks for reminding me.
We'll get there. Get you there.
Yeah, I know it's. I mean, I'm right on the border of Mexico, so you know, I feel like I'm in a little bubble here as far as like being able to go upstate or bring things from other states over, you know, anything like that. So I do have a set of locals, you know, things, and I have some logistics people who travel the country and kind of hook me up once a month. So I do get access to good stuff.
And real quick, if you guys never watched Hanging with the 420 Crew, like when the show that we were doing, like in the off season, like last year, I was bringing different people on for smoke sessions and stuff. Hess was on episode number 2. I just put the link in the chat if you guys want to go check that out after this, so you can get a whole backstory on Hess if you've never seen the video.
Cool. I'll probably check that out later. I was working on a painting yesterday. I got blown with Bob Ross for about 2 hours, so I'm going to probably finish it off today.
Yeah. There we go. And so Bob's allowed to the Texans hat. We don't see that too often.
I got a Texans hat. I got a couple there. I got some Spurs. I got an Astros hat. So I got my teams.
Yeah, whenever on the Playmakers on every Wednesday night, you're bound to see some Texas stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a Davis Mills aficionado, if you guys don't know, so I'll always talk about him just because.
Yeah, man, it's
fun.
So funny. So I pull up the video real quick just so I could get the Hanging with the 420 Crew episode 2, and so I can get the link. And man, it's just all Stu right in there. A bunch of chats from Stu, and it's like, Hustler, your mic's FUBAR now. That was like right after I got my new mic after all the unemployment money came in from like 2020 when I got fucked over, and I just got the dopest mic. Got that Shure SM75. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got the new tech. This is the iSpire dab. Hustler's still rolling with that torch, huh?
I know, man. I'm still a caveman over here. I gotta light the fire first before we can get it going. I need to get on that Puffco game. And you know what? It's me being jaded. I talked about it pre-show a little bit with the what's it called? The D nails or whatever the fuck. The shit would keep burning out on me, and like you had to have those extra coils, and those would just keep burning out like crazy. And I was so pissed because it was like so cool.
Yeah, this is speaking of Puffco, right? I mean, I'll show you where they went from, right? They went from, well, actually, this is not even their latest device. They actually just came out, just dropped their newest device, which looks like the old school pipe, you know? And then he took
Sherlock Holmes style.
Yeah, Sherlock Holmes style, exactly. But that started sort of like what Hustler is saying. But they came out with a little bit, instead of, a little bit safer version, no plastic. That was like the big thing. When people were ordering shit out of China, and getting that up to temp, we're burning plastic and inhaling that as well, right? So shout out to Puffco, right? When they started out of Brooklyn, out of all places, now obviously headquartered in Cali, still have offices in Brooklyn. But when he came out, he came out with that and literally revolutionized the game. Instead of the torch, everybody was on the torch. I mean, everybody. I mean, that's how you had to get it up to temp. But when he came out with that Puffco Peak, a couple presses of the button, you see that's lighting up right now.
Yeah, I need to fucking get one of those. Damn caveman over here. Those things are fucking so legit, though. And I guess I'd never used one until we went to that little party. I don't even know what it was, the networking event or whatever. And I can't remember her name, but she had some fire ass dab, and she had her Puffco piece. And Anthony in the building. What up, Uncle Buck? Some more Cali people getting in the chat.
And now they got these models where they attach like to an app on your phone. heat up temperature. But without that, you got a couple nice temps on this one. You know, green being like the lowest, red being, green being the middle, blue being the lowest, and then red being the hottest. But
yeah,
sometimes you want to taste your concentrates because that's what it's all about, tasting that flavor. So if you want to taste it, you gotta taste that lower temperature. Because
low temperature.
Temperatures, different molecules burn off at different temperatures, right?
Yeah.
And so you've got all these different terpenes which are giving those flavors to the cannabis, contrary to the word flavonoid. That's actually more look and color. But the flavor, the terpenes, they'll burn off at different temperatures, right? So
yeah, when you take those hot dabs, like sometimes that shit be hurting your throat, it like definitely doesn't taste good. You gotta let that shit get down to temp.
And these are nice because you can push them again. They call it party mode. They all have them nowadays, and you keep it going.
I'm having my cannabis and caffeine. It's like my daily ritual.
Yeah, like Devin the Dude, man, him and the Coffee Brothers. Just that coffee in the morning.
Badass.
We'll get some of that out to you.
Shit, yeah, man. It sucks over here, honestly. I'm like every 2 weeks, I'm like, all right, I got to hit up a different, rotate on my plugs. That way I'm not wearing them out.
And fucking, I know Crispy's in Texas too. He said Texas politicians hanging on to their whiskey and their Bibles, hypocrites. I know.
Yeah, he knows that I feel the same way, dude.
Same way as that, like in Utah. Utah was like, they made it medical on the condition that, and obviously the church got involved there, DLS. And they were like, on the condition it never goes adult use. So we'll see if that stays. That'll be one of the last to go. But some states, yeah, super red. It'll take some time. No. But at this point, it's very much bipartisan. In fact, a couple of weeks ago, it got some news that the Republicans were actually going to take that over as like a talking point, and when they come back in, they're going to say, well, we're going to federally legalize it in all states. So,
I heard something like that, but I don't know how. We'll see what happens, I guess.
100% legit, right? It'll still take time. I mean, if they did it today, right? If tomorrow you woke up, boom, Biden was like, yeah, it's federally legal now. It's going to take 4 or 5 years for that to like implement,
Right.
So,
yeah,
at the state level.
But, at a certain point, it'll be like beer, it'll be like alcohol, and you can get your favorite brand, pretty much anywhere and ship across states. And
yeah, I think like, what is it? This summer is like 18 years, my 18-year anniversary from when I went to Amsterdam for a little while. And man, it was so cool. It was just, I don't know, never forget it.
How long did you stay?
I was there for 2 days, but we went to Switzerland and we bought a whole bunch of, bud. And then we stayed in Europe for another 2 weeks, and it had just become the European Union. So we were traveling through all the countries with no problem. So we were just, toking it up everywhere, taking pictures. I went to Italy for 3 days, was in France for 2. So it was dope. Yeah. Literally.
It's
a great trip.
3 different times. One was just like a very quick in and out, like stopover kind of thing, but twice was like a proper 2-3 day.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah. Nowadays, I mean, shit. You want Amsterdam? Go to Cali. Go to Colorado. Go anywhere. It's much more robust.
Yeah,
they're sending genetics now back to Amsterdam. It used to be the other way around. But now genetics are everywhere. And it's legal. I'm in the state of New York. It's you can grow in your home.
Yeah, I mean, it's come a long way from when I was like 14 and smoking like Mexican ragweed to what I have now,
Thank God. I could only imagine because being in San Diego, we're right by the border. So I'm seeing a lot of the the Mex weed that's making it over. That Reggie Bush,
you'd get like a whole bunch of it for like $20 or something.
Yeah, a bundle. Yeah, I remember especially there was 2 guys at my school who their uncle would be like sending it over to them, and like, man, they didn't care. They were giving you so much. Like,
yeah, those are the days. Exactly.
I never smoked that shit. People are like, "Oh, are you too good for this?" And I was like, "Well, I'm offering you to partake, and you can just save that for someone else."
Yeah,
Yeah, I had to drive over to like the bigger city to be like, all right, where do I pay up for some good stuff?
Yeah, I couldn't imagine how bad it was in Texas, like when you were like in high school, because we're like the same age.
Yeah, that was like the early 2000s or the
For
very
sure.
early 2000s. So yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm literally when I was a senior in high school, like that's when we were getting Prop 215 passed. So I had a couple different jobs growing up. I mean, I was always hustling, and one of them on was get after school a little bit and on weekends, just standing outside like grocery stores or like places where people were like always
gathering,
and getting signatures for different propositions. And Prop 215 was of course one of them. And like, of course, how cool was that?
Hell yeah.
17-year-old going running around getting Prop 215 signatures, and then it passed.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was a senior in high school, I mean, we're talking 2004 or 2003, 2004 year. And I remember like having not the direct plug, it was still a friend of a friend, but having the direct line to like Jack Herrera, Trainwreck, the P91, like, I mean, man, just having these strains and just feeling so blessed and like seeing like my friends weed. And even if it was like, even if it was like chronic, like a lot of times it was just a lot of the mids that a lot of people had.
There'd be like a seed in there. I don't know, like what?
And shout out to the community, right? And a lot of people, look a certain way on the legacy community, but in terms of how creative we are, I mean, just in a number, a couple of years, how far we've come, right? I mean, and just in general, what we've done. Remember these old little vape, vape pens?
Yeah.
Starting there where it's like leaking all over the place, to nowadays, I mean, you've got like all the, disposables out there,
built into it. Like, I mean,
shout out to C-Cell. C-Cell changed the game, right? So anytime you get like an actual cartridge, you could like look at the bottom and 9 out of 10 times it'll say Jupiter or C-Cell.
Yep.
And they really changed the game. That's when it stopped leaking. I mean, otherwise, we wouldn't
innovation
have vape cartridges.
Yeah. And Sir Bongslot said, "Hey, now the brick had its time and place. Them were the
yeah, that's right. The good old brick. That's right.
But now they're coming up and growing in Cali.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So that's gone.
yeah, that just doesn't exist anymore.
Not the strain. I mean, the landrace strains, right? And they're not going to look like some of the strains used to seeing, in a dispensary or whatever, are fantastic, right? From down in Mexico. So it wasn't the genetics, it wasn't the flower itself. It was how they were transporting it most of the time and how there wasn't dry in, so it comes all brown and nasty. And they didn't care how many males were in the room, so you get seeds up in there, and it was all.
And there's so much room for like good weed in Vegas too, because like all these dispensaries that I'm going to, it's like, I mean, maybe once in a while they'll have like a really like good strain, but it's still not Cali top shelf. Still not the Cali exotic.
I gotta turn you on to some in Vegas. I mean, you can get what's that?
I went to Herbal Essentials. They delivered when I was staying at my place out there, and they dropped it off, and I was like, cool, man. They gave me some edibles and a vape, and I was like, sweet, I'm set for the week.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Delivery. I just showed up and showed them my license, and they were like, cool, all right, here you go.
Those were the good old days. 5th, 6th grade, not a fucking worry in the world. Nope, you ain't lying.
You just gotta get yourself to the right spot. But there's fire flower coming out of Nevada, especially Vegas. Definitely.
He said, Song said, my wife hates the smell, fuck weed, so I've had to turn to the vape. Yeah, that's rough. It is what it is, but the vape and the dab.
Live rosin carts, right? Yeah. I mean, they've gotten pretty good.
Yeah.
So you're getting distillate carts, or you're getting like real good live rosin carts, because if that's what you're getting, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not
He,
that.
he lives in Cali, so he should have access to some nice cars.
Make sure you're not getting distillate when you walk in. Tell them I want live rosin, something like that. 1,000 times better.
That's what this is. It's from Chicago, or my friend brought it down from Chicago.
What's the
It's
brand?
Cresco,
Cresco?
something like that. Yeah, but it's an indica. It's blueberry space cake.
Shout out
It's
to
a live
Cresco.
rosin,
These
but
guys,
it's
right?
good. Tastes good. That's all that matters. Yeah, it's that one exactly. But mine's the blue whatever.
Right. So there you go. That's perfect example to what we were talking about. So while
Nice.
I'm doing this in here in this massive contraption, right? Now there literally is no difference. Before, a year or 2 years ago, it was, I would tell you, like, yeah, there's a massive difference. Now there's no difference with what Peacock's got, what I got, and shout
Yeah,
out
dude.
to
Well, that's
it.
what I'm saying. Luckily, like my friends take trips, they travel all over the place. So like somebody's in Colorado, I'm like, hey, psst, I'll PayPal you because or whatever.
Oh man, that's how it goes. And Sir Bongzot said rosin carts are like hitting dab rigs. Yeah, for sure. He said even the taste come through. Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what I'm liking. I'm still, I still got all my vapes from the Hall of Flowers, and anytime I go out gambling or whatever, I always got a nice vape with me.
Yeah, it's just nice when you're in public. It's like a little discreet whenever you need to be or whatever.
Yeah, and everyone's puffing on them anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody cares.
Yeah, everybody knows that it's weed.
even here, trust me.
Oh yeah.
And then they got, so you can go out and get yourself some topicals too. Shout out to Doc Greens. Shout out to Gronk. Gronk's got a CBD topical company.
Yeah.
And, fix it with pain.
Oh yeah. Especially for those athletes. Like, I mean, that's bullshit that they'd get flagged for, CBD on a drug test for the longest time. Like, why the fuck wouldn't they want to do that? Like after their,
Dude, trust me, it's like it's the best way to recover from being hurt, or having pain. Trust me.
Fuck yeah.
It is. I don't know what I would have done without it when I was younger.
Yeah,
even now, I'm old and I still play like flag football like every other month or whatever. And I'm 36 and my body takes like the whole week to recover from 2 games, on a Wednesday night or whatever.
I'm sure there's still a little bit of contact, right? Even though it's
Yeah, definitely, dude. I mean, these guys get real intense and physical. It's like, come on, dude, or I'll fall or somebody will push me. It's like, come on. It happens all the time.
It's the heyday to the Friday Night Lights, right? Like, we live in their high school dreams out there in their 30s.
Yeah, I don't know, man. But there's a nice field that I have to go to another little city a little further away, but it's turf and it's like real soft and you can play with tennis shoes or whatever. It's like that's where I like to play. You don't fall on the hard ass desert turf grass that's around. Some of these other fields aren't even watered. There's holes. You gotta watch out.
Damn.
Yeah, I don't play in those. I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm out. Call me next week.
Song said, wait, what are they? Resin carts? Live resin.
Live resin carts.
That's what you want.
It's live resin that you're looking for, and it's called that. That's because of it's when they cut the plant, it's fresh frozen from that point, and so it's like cannabinoids, terpenes are also live,
And that's not the brand, just to be clear. That's just
you can get any brand.
Yeah.
It's the type of concentrate, and what you want to stay away from when you're in the dispensary are distillate cartridges. That's sort of like you're not paying that much less, but you're getting like apples and oranges. No reason for it. So if you can and you have, stay away from those. Definitely, you want to be hitting a live rosin.
Speaking of plants, let me open this window so I can.
Live rosin.
I'm not growing a plant or anything. I have plants inside my office.
And what up, Devin, silly white boy? Let's smoke it up. About to heat up another dab. Let's get it rolling.
Now they've been one step further. I'm about to hit this, the cold cure live rosin. So they're going for flavor on top of flavor on top of flavor record. This is that GMO too. So that's gonna be real good.
I designed a thing for some edible gummies for a True Hash company out there in California. And it was basically the high chew concept. It was basically the high chew concept, and I just like changed all the stuff on it, and it was like a 30 count of whatever,
But what company are you
milligrams.
gonna say?
True Hash. True Hash
Talking
Co.
Trees?
What's that?
Talking Trees? True Hash?
I don't know. I don't know if they go by Talking Trees. It's just True Hash Co. They have like a little palm tree, or it's black with like a circle on the design, I think. Anyway, what's the name of the guy? I think the guy's name's Dakota, or one of the owners or whatever. But anyway, yeah, he was like, hey, can you come up? He's like, can you change the Haichu bag, the candy bag, but make it look like, for edibles? And I was like, yeah, sure. So those are floating out there somewhere if you see them. I did that design.
Nice. Yeah, I was speaking with Ron. New York, they just legalized and they're about to put the regulations out and get the whole system going. And one of the things that they're sort of clamping down on right off the bat is packaging, right? And what they're doing is they're looking at some of the earlier states and they're learning lessons from those states. And all right, so on the one hand, I hear what they're saying. You don't want to you don't want it to infringe on patent or copyright. So
right.
Certain, I don't have to give names, but certain things that look like extremely popular candy brands, but you change like the S to a Z or whatever, it's not gonna, and everything else looks the same. It's not gonna work,
Right.
Or certain things. I mean, there have been major lawsuits. So shout out to anybody. Listen, you don't want to spend all that money with someone like Peacock only to have to change your branding because you're getting sued, right? And
yeah, well, I didn't charge him much, actually. I was just like, send me some in the mail.
Yeah, I mean, so always understand compliance, and every state's a little bit different. But what's interesting is, and that's why I bring it up, in New York, anything that looks like bubble writing, they're going like into fonts, they're going into characters, what you can and cannot say in the packaging. So it's not going to necessarily look sterile, like, maybe like up in Canada, how some of the packaging looks up there. But, what I was thinking, right, but I'd love to get your thoughts, in terms of because packaging is huge, right? A product could be fantastic, but.
And if people have kind of like similar products all lined up at at one of these conventions or whatever.
How are they going to know? Right? People are visual, right? They want to grab at something, right?
Right.
What I was thinking, though, people can get, creative with maybe the shape of the package, like sort of like some alcohol bottles, I've done, or like cologne bottles, right? Where it's not necessarily the writing or the image, and then maybe I don't know, but like you're definitely got to figure out what attracts the demographic that's buying your product to your product, usually it's more than just it's a certain strain or whatever, because
I think it's a lot of, honestly, it's like I'm personally like attracted to things that are like, pop culture, or retro, or like they strike a chord with, just how I grew up. So like if I see something that's cool that I like, that's, relating to Marvel or Rick and Morty or something, but like, it's, just kind of gives you that vibe, then I'm going for it or whatever. Or if I like, like a lot of like trippy psychedelic, tie-dye shit too, like I'm gravitating towards that. So like, if you can incorporate things like, that's the kind of people that are typically, buying that kind of product as well. They're into things like that. And I think you kind of have to highlight and touch on those, but not necessarily just dive right in. And like you said, go straight into copyright or whatever.
Kind of like what Red Bull did, right? They tapped into a culture.
Like with me, the way I do it though, like with my site, and a lot of the way people get around it is that you go to a huge vector like thing, like it has stock photos, and then you pay for the license, and it's like $1 to use the image, and then you can change it. So you've already paid the royalty, and it's really nothing, and then you can put it on your website and sell all the stuff. So that's basically what I do, like with my t-shirts and my artwork and stuff. So there's ways around it as well.
To get back at what
like I have a Care Bear one up there, and it was like totally licensable, so I use that, and then I put like a joint in his hand, and I changed the thing to a pot leaf, and it's a 420 bear. It's like sharing is caring.
It's actually my favorite one. I've been on your channel. That's my favorite one, of course.
yeah. So there's ways, and then like and then I'll draw out some of my own fonts sometimes, and just to get around other things, and then I'll upload. There's just ways to do things, but it's tough. they're time consuming sometimes.
Something like that you could definitely not do in New York, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And so it's going to be interesting, but you know, brands like Nike, and I mean that I wouldn't call that sterile, you know. I mean, you could think of a ton of like higher end brands that, you know, aren't crazy font, but they, you know, maybe they do like a color contrast or something cool, or, you know, something. But you know, my guess is, you know, if you can tap into that in a place like New York, they're going to need creative minds to help them out, how to get those brands, how to get that message out to, you know, to their demographics, so they buy the product without maybe the traditional messages that they've been doing up until now.
Yeah, those cool funky designs, man. I'm just saying, like, you slap them on just like Hustler's shirt there with a Cheech and Chong. Like, people like stuff like that. You can, you know what I mean? You can. I don't know how you could get around the likeness, you know, and, you know, not get in trouble if you're going to be putting it on a cannabis product and trying to sell it or something. You know, I'm sure Cheech would come after you or something. But you know, but like something like
a Cheech and Chong like brand shirt.
Yeah, like you can do something that looks like a guy that looks like Jack Black and make it look like, you know, or something, you know. It doesn't have to be, you know, I don't think Jack Black's gonna come after you. Like, it's like, is that me? Like, you don't know. I mean, just say it. Like, you play around with stuff.
I just
doesn't necessarily have to be.
Do a poke high. I'm in the Bundy League, so do a poke high, but maybe maybe
Al
Bundy's
Bundy
doing it with like that, but maybe he's got like a sack, you know, for the football.
That's perfect,
or
dude.
he's got a something, you know. That would be
That's cool.
fire.
Yeah. That's 4 TDs in a game and stuff. But yeah, a lot of people do, like, you can do silhouettes of things that make,
you know,
exactly. Poke High's not, there's no school named Poke High. The people who are on the show aren't going to come after you for putting Poke High on a graphic or a shirt. You know what I mean? So
33.
There's ways to get around stuff like that.
One of the prizes, there's going to be 5 jerseys that are given out to the top 5 teams in the best ball tournament. The Polk High Al Bundy is one of the jerseys.
Oh, nice.
That's awesome.
Hey guys, well, appreciate hanging out with you. I think my kids are stirring, so I'm gonna go make some breakfast for them as well.
Sounds good, Peacock. Thanks for joining, homie.
Hey, all right, man. Enjoy 710, buddies.
Yo. So that remediation CRC method, yeah. So, you know, back to what you were starting to say, like, right, with concentrates, start, you know, and you've got all kinds of people making them, and you know, what goes in, usually the saying is what goes in is what comes out, garbage in, garbage out, right? But right, what people were trying to do is skip around that, right? And if they had garbage out, they were trying to figure out, right, how to remediate that and either make it look, you know, like, you know, a different grade of a product, or, you know, even make it taste like another kind of a product. But what you know, shout out to SC Labs, right? That's one of our first companies that we invested in way back, that was like back in 2013. This, and Cali only made it mandatory to test in 2018. But you know, about what was it, during COVID? I think there was a period of time where we were getting close to getting a federal ban on all vape cartridges, period, right?
Yeah.
Because people were developing this condition, right, when they were, you know, getting some potentially smoking some vape cartridges, right? And what was happening is it was a different type. It wasn't CRC, but it was a different type of method in that which, you know, people were, you know, changing the way, you know, an actual, you know, product looked and consistency of a product, right? And, you know, they were adding something that maybe they didn't think was bad and harmful necessarily, right? And like CRC, it's not necessarily harmful, right? But it's misleading, right? And it's not, you know, it's not what really needs to be done, right? And so you have labs like SC Labs that are calling out, you know, when companies are remediating their product, right? Especially and highlighting those that aren't right? Same with like the Emerald Cup and other competitions like that, really, you know, highlighting growers and producers of product that, you know, that aren't skipping, that aren't, you know, messing around. And, you know, back, you know, again, shout out to SC Labs that, you know, they were able to identify very early on, right, that these weren't products coming from the legal market. This, you know, because you can't do that. That would show up in a lab test, right?
Yeah.
And you couldn't script the system like that, but it was showing up, I mean, you know, in you know, counterfeit cartridges that, you know, kind of people were making on their own, and you know, just trying to either remediate or trying to, you know, add something to make it better. And like Bogey's saying, if it ain't lab approved, signed, sealed, you know, it's hard to move, and I wouldn't touch it anymore. You know, my kids are grown. You know, 2 of my kids are grown right now, over 21, and you know, I tell them all the time, unless you're getting a vape card, you know, from a dispensary, it's not worth it.
Yeah,
you know?
You don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Fuck all that.
Yeah, you want it pure. Nowadays, I mean, the way that people are extracting, you know, period, mainly, right? You started with that, you know, butane, you know, it's either solvents or non-solvent, right? You got your butane, you've got your CO2, right? Your 2 main solvents. Of course, you've got other gas, you know, and alcohols that people are using, and distillation methods and other type of extraction methods that people are using. It's all about what type of flavor and how much post-processing that those manufacturers are doing at the end of the day. But yeah, you know, nowadays, again, we're living in a time where, you know, most things, you know, have a QR code, you know, just boom, right here. You know, everything's got like a QR code on their product these days, and you can find out, you know, when it was lab tested, where it was tested by, and know what's in your product. It's safe. It is what it is. Yeah.
And it needs to be that way.
Yeah. Propane.
Yeah. Hank Hill selling cannabis and cannabis accessories.
You would have hit it big. I guarantee you, Hank Hill would have gone right into cannabis. One of my boys, what he was doing, he was one of the biggest packaging, you know, guys in cannabis early on, right? You remember when it was like pop, like those like medicine looking bottles instead of like the way they are now, like glass. So they started doing all of those, and like they had huge market share. And then when everyone started getting into the solvents, right? Well, they already knew, you know, who was doing what in the industry. So they had, you know, purchased this solvent company and became Hank Hill and did it right. And, you know, they converged those companies.
That's awesome.
Genius.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Especially, I mean, can't blame people for doing stuff like that either. Like it was funny. What's his name? Jaleel White, Steve Urkel.
Yeah.
You know, for the longest time, he was really hating on, not hating, but wanting to get past the Steve Urkel, you know, just phase of his life. He didn't want to be known as, you know, the goofy nerd anymore. And then he starts getting into where he's actually smoking and going into dispensaries and seeing Purple Urkel. And he was like, I noticed a trend that Purple Urkel wasn't really that good. He was like, I never walked in and like Purple Urkel was like the best, you know, strain on the shelf or anything. And then so now he flipped the script. All right, Antonio, we'll catch you later, bro. And then he flips the script, creates a Purple Urkel strain. I forget with what company he did the collab with, but I want to smoke some of that Purple Urkel, and apparently you can't like keep it in stock at all. And I think it's only around the LA area.
Hell yeah. Yeah, a lot of celebrities jumping in. Shout out to Tyson 2.0.
Yeah.
Shout out to Ric Flair. Ric Flair drip, Wu Choose, coming out soon. But if you're a celebrity, name of the game is hooking up with quality producer, right? I'm not going to name names, but there's a lot of big celebrities out there didn't do that, right? For whatever reason. I mean, you know, but they didn't do that, and brand didn't soar like they thought it would. But in a day where you can't market your brand with regular commercials and regular magazine, any, you know, traditional marketing and branding.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Tyson can go on Jimmy Kimmel and talk about, you know, Mike bites, right? His ear-shaped edible with a little bite out of it. Oh, that's branding gold. What other better commercial is that, right?
Because what do you know the story behind Tyson Ranch and what happened with that?
First.
Yeah, and that was all I really knew. I mean, they were always talking about Tyson Ranch on his podcast, you know, when he first started his podcast, and then he just randomly just stopped talking about it. I was like, why? Yeah. What happened with that?
Yeah, just some issues, I think, you know, behind the scenes, and some capital issues, and, you know, really what I always say, people ask me, as, you know, what I do is we invest in the cannabis industry, right? Cannabis Now, one of our media companies that we invest in. Tyson 2.0, a company we invest in. SC Labs, a company we invest in, right? So we invest in a lot of the companies in the cannabis industry. And, you know, people always ask what's one of the reasons why you invest, and I always say the team, right? Tyson Ranch didn't have the right team, right? You can have the greatest product, the greatest ambassador, but, you know, if the people sort of behind the wheel and, you know, the mechanics fixing the car and, you know, or whatever vehicle to get from point A to point B aren't the right people, right? And you don't have that right, what's called C-suite, right, of executives and under them, and right, communication and everything. You know, it's not always a money issue. It's not always where you pinpoint something, but that team's got to be, you know, on point for any company to really, you know, to really go, right?
Well, I know that all these phases are like important, but what would you say is one of the most important? Or no. What would you say is the most important phase? Like whether it is the ambassador, whether it's the marketing, the sales, packaging. You know, if you had to say one that's the most important, that people really need to have a specialist, you know, or something special in that part of it, what would you say?
If they're gonna hire someone, definitely like, you know, a COO type person, like an operator. You know, a lot of us in the cannabis industry, a lot of legacy type people, are very creative. You know, we've got all kinds of ideas, right? But not necessarily, you know, going to be able to execute on every single one of them. But if you hire someone, you have someone on your squad, you know, that, you know, maybe you take an equity, you joint partner with them, you can't hire them at the moment, that is going to be able to execute. You know, if that's not you, you know, it's really finding someone that, you know, is, you know, has some of the qualities that, you know, you don't excel in. You know, that's probably one of the first things you want to do as an entrepreneur, create your team. And as difficult as it may be, you know, and again, there's ways to hire people without money, right? Without capital off the bat, and have people working with you, you know, on your idea and stuff. You need that team, right? As investors, we want to know that it's not just you, because obviously there's that hit by the bus theory, right? If it's just you and shit hits the fan, well, things are done, right? No, there's got to be continuity, a team, and a team creates that, right? And then when you're creating that team, it's not necessarily about finding someone that can execute. You got to vibe with that person, because you're creating a culture, right? Because that culture is ultimately what you're going to highlight and what is going to represent your brand to the demographic. And it's what's going to bring your brand to you. You know what I mean? And if you're able to do those things right, you know, because ultimately at the end of the day, you know, you have good genetics, you put them in the ground, you can grow some fire flower, but, you know, it's a commodity, right? And you're going to have larger producers, you know, think Budweiser, right? You're going to have larger producers growing at scale, not necessarily for quality, but, you know, that's why you got to look what kind of brand you like, just like walking into, you know, finding what kind of wine you like, what kind of alcohol you like, whatever it may be. There's always something out there that's for you. But ultimately, like, you know, Peacock was saying earlier, you know, it's sort of combining those two things. Find someone that can execute, if that's something that you're lacking, or if you're the executor, find someone that's thinking big picture. Find the missing link, but make sure that that you're able to connect with whomever you're trying to sell or your product or service to. Because if you're just coming out and being like, yeah, I can grow great flour, or I can squash great flour and turn it into a great concentrate. Well, so can thousands and thousands of other people, right? So what's going to differentiate your product? I mean, think cookies, right? I mean, what's so special about the cookies brand, right? We're not going to talk about the fire flour. We'll talk about that for a second because it is fire, right? But that's not what differentiates the cookies brand, right? You're talking to me about burner and the merch and the culture, right?
I see fucking like teenagers walking around with cookie shirts.
Yeah,
like
I was telling me in church, people walking around with cookies gear. Like, it's literally like that's how he became $1 billion brand, right? Yeah. Not because he necessarily focused on, I mean, he was very good product because he knew his demographic wanted very good product and knew what flavor, and then he was smart and sort of attached it to, was able to market that through music, right? Which is a fantastic medium, for cannabis and in general, cannabis, food, and music. I always say are things that can sort of bring people together, right? Regardless of your politics and religion and things like that. So he's kind of got that on lock, right? So it's that's sort of the best advice that I can give. Whether it's the investor you're looking for, whether it's a partner, find the missing link and make sure you vibe. First and foremost.
Yeah, one thing that I've noticed is well, I mean, especially just with the dispensaries down here, I don't know who's at the top, but man, they are not training the people at the bottom, because we go into these different places and people knowing absolutely nothing, and and then some not being helpful. Yeah, if it sucks at the bottom, it probably sucks at the top. I mean, that's the only way that I can really think of it. And
some are doing it right, and those, for example, again, when it's a dispensary and that's the brand that you're creating, well, it's not a product you can sell. So what are you selling? Other than we've got a lot of product, we're always stocked, right? It's kind of the secret sauce is, how do you treat your people?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? How do you treat your bud tenders? Is it like a rotation? Every time you go into that dispensary, is it a new bud tender? Or every time you go in there, is it the same bud tender? It's like, hey, and he knows your name and knows what you like, right? And it's more than just he's getting a little cut, from, or spiff or whatever he gets from, from the brand. And that's why, someone comes in, hey, what's your favorite such and such? And, oh, it's this. They're giving you what, they've got in the back that they're supposed to unload that day, right? But you develop that relationship with them. But more importantly, the retail brand, right, is giving the bud tender the confidence to do that and giving them that education.
Yeah.
Giving them product to try and to understand how it tastes, why it tastes like that, how it's made. Take them on a tour of different manufacturers that are doing it in different ways. These guys are doing it through solvents. These guys are doing not solvents. Here they're growing it in a greenhouse. Here they're growing it indoors, and help them understand what they're selling, right? And bring them in as a family, right? Maybe earn a little equity along the way, all kinds of tips like that. You're going to give the consumer, without even trying, a much better experience, right?
For sure. Yeah, and and that's the tough part with who's it really on? Is it on the brand? Is it on the dispensary? I mean, it should be a little bit on both. Because you want the, I mean, as a brand, I mean, you want the people who are pushing your product to want to push the product, because there's a million things that anybody could push at any given second, literally whatever's on their mind. And they haven't tried everything in the shop. There's greasing so many things that's almost impossible for anybody to try everything. The bud tenders, that is. So, I mean, I feel it goes a long way, greasing the wheels of the bud tender, who, I mean, usually the thing that they're happiest about is working in the dispensary, maybe getting a discount, on flour or whatever. But when you start getting free stuff, and that, I know that just feels cool for anybody getting free stuff for no reason.
Absolutely. I know a lot of dispensary owners, they'll do like contests, all the time with the bartenders, and they'll walk away with all kinds of free product. And, at a certain point, there are ways that the dispensary owners can do that through the metric system legally. And, there's ways you can, incentivize your employees like that. And yeah, that's really the best way, in my opinion, the only way to do it right. People notice when they walk in and it's constant turnover and you're not getting help, and a patient or a consumer can go to down the street, right? These days, go to the other one. So why are they going to repeat, especially, and get the same brands that they're getting in yours? I mean, why are they coming back to you as a retailer? Not everybody's burner. Not everybody's going to put up a cookies flag and everybody's going to come rushing, right?
Yeah.
So why you as a retail, owner, why are people going to come visit that store? 9 out of 10 times, other than parking, it's going to be how you treat your clients. How you treat your clients and how you treat your employees.
Yeah. And that's really with any business, right? Like, especially if there's sales involved. I've been in so many random sales companies. And I say random, they were, some of them were like Verizon wireless affiliates and things like that. And I just remember it just being such a sales grind of the numbers that you had to hit, and everything was fucking stressful every month. And then when you hit your numbers, all they did was just raise the numbers for the next month for you to make the same amount of money that you did that month. So yeah, that's the kind of shit that needs to be out the window. And
yep,
things are changing though. All right. Well, you know what? We've been rocking on this for, damn near 2 hours. So I think this is a good time to sign off. And I believe tonight we're going to be doing me, Bogey, and Spencer doing our consensus Superflex QBs. So we already did our consensus top 12, but now we're going to be getting into our consensus 13 through 24. The guys who in a Superflex, they will be going for sure. And we'll be giving our thoughts on some of our favorite guys and where we have them charted out.
So you're saying Lance and Fields will both be on the agenda.
Well, Bogey already had Lance in the top. He was already in the Bogey's fucking crazy with
Bogey's
that 8 on that.
Call, I'm telling you right now, and he's gonna go top 5.
He totally
could. You know what? We're both making the call.
And Devin said, I've been stuck in the sales world for years. Feel you, Huss. Yeah, man. And especially now, at least everything that I'm selling is benefiting me more than, shit, I remember at Verizon getting over 100,000 in profit just as a salesman, or at least that's what they said, but getting 2,000 in the month or something like that, so it's whatever, I'm over that racket. Smoke it up, Sir Bongs a lot. And what do you got to shout out, Hess?
Shout out like always. Well, Trust Capital. Anybody has desire to get into the cannabis industry, check out Trust Capital. What we do, Trust Capital, Trust Solutions. Essentially, we help people participate in the cannabis industry, whether that's as an entrepreneur or as an investor. And we've been doing it for a long time, and I think we know what we're doing. And then shout out a couple companies, Cannabis Now. Check them out. Cannabis Now. You can check them out on IG. You can check them out on Facebook. Check them out online. Check them out everywhere. Check them out if you're at the airport. Go get one of their magazines. But definitely get your Cannabis Now. And always shouting out Tyson 2.0. It's the year of the ear. Go get some fire if you're in one of the legal states. Chances are, and I can't say this about many other brands, if any other brand. If you're in a legal state, chances are you can get Tyson 2.0. And it's one of the only products like that, right? You in Cali, not necessarily you can get it, in Chicago. If you're in Chicago, not necessarily you walk in dispensary. It's not something you're going to get in, Florida. If you're in a legal state, you can probably get the same Tyson 2.0 It's going to be quality. It's going to be what you like, and it's going to be fire.
The year of the ear. I love it.
Ear.
Talk about marketing.
Yep.
All right. We're getting the hell up out of here. We'll see you a little later today. And then tomorrow we're going to be doing another review on the best ball tourney. So we'll see you later. Peace out.
Happy 710, fam.
Yeah.
Hold up. Hey. So hot, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot, so hot.
I'm so high.
In the morning, I smoke 2 joints at night.
I smoke 2 joints when I play video games, and every 10,000 points.
Is it such a crime? Hey, everybody should be getting high.
Hope you're ready for the next episode. Hey, smoke weed every day.